Dear viewers, my guest today is a photographer, a golfer, a cricketer, an entrepreneur rolled into a media baron. He is Mr. Shanth Kumar. Warm welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Where does your interest lie? Exactly, precisely, if at all you were to pinpoint.
Well, I think fundamentally I'm a sports lover, basically.
Okay.
I think that's my fundamental interest. I love all kinds of sports.
Started off with cricket.
Well, I started off with lots of things. In fact, in school I used to play hockey, badminton, table tennis, cricket. Cricket, of course, was my favorite game.
Okay.
In school or right after college. But I did dabble in a lot of other games.
Okay. Most importantly, though cricket was of great interest and love.
Badminton, for example, table tennis, I was pretty good at those. At a school level, of course, and hockey also. And I think the reason was that my father was a very great sports lover himself, and he encouraged me to play all kinds of sports.
Oh, since you were very young?
Oh yes, certainly, right from my primary school days.
Okay, always in a boarding school? Boarding school,
that's right.
Okay, but how did you take to photography?
Well, that I think was more sometime during my high school or college days. I started going to the office, which is our newspaper company.
Okay, Deccan Herald.
Deccan Herald, Pajamani. I used to go in there. I suddenly found, and I used to go into the sports section. And good old Mr. Leslie Wilson used to be there those days. And because of my love for sports, I used to go there and find out what's happening, look at the pictures. And the photographs attracted me. And we had a photographer there called Mr. G. Bhagwan, a very senior person. And I started getting more interested in photography as I looked at pictures, and I started getting...
And the photographs were everything at one point, right? And because in the absence of TV, people had to actually imagine by looking at just one picture many things.
Absolutely, and a good photograph, as they say, is worth 1,000 words. So photography was very important.
And sometimes, even showing movement in a still photography.
Yes, that's right. That's a lot of talent, yes.
Yeah.
So that's when I got involved and I got interested in photography. It attracted me a lot. And photography and sports seemed to be things that went along very nicely.
Okay.
And
both had action.
Yeah, both had action, that's right. And Bhagwan was a specialist in sports photography.
Okay. You were trained under somebody?
Well, as I said, informal training.
Okay.
And Bhagwan was my first
when did you start getting into professional stream of photography?
Well, I wouldn't call myself a professional. I would, I think, at best call myself.
Look at the number of bylines that you get even recently.
I've been fortunate enough, I think. I would call myself at best a keen enthusiast, a serious amateur. I mean, because I haven't done enough work and enough exposure that way professionally. So to call
you
myself
witnessed more Olympics than even most sports people from this country. 6 Olympics, right?
That's right. Beijing was my 6th Olympics.
Okay, but is it only because of the love of sports, or because you go there for the opportunity to photograph the events or people?
Well, Olympics has so many beautiful things about it. I mean, the main attraction for me is the size and the scale of the Olympics. There's no other event in the whole world of that nature with a wide range of sport.
And the coming together of different people.
Absolutely. It's a melting pot of societies, of languages, of cultures.
And for the first time, everybody looks at like they're in peace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, there is no animosity between the athletes of two countries.
In spite
probably
of so much competition.
Absolutely. And it's well known that the Olympic Games, especially these Games Village, where thousands of athletes actually live for over 3 weeks.
So well organized.
Very, very well organized. Right?
Such a large management exercise.
That's right. And it gives us so many opportunities to cover and to take pictures of different sports, of the mood there, of the environment. It's a beautiful event.
How is it possible for somebody like you to be at different places at the same time? Because you would certainly not want to miss something for the other.
It's very difficult to choose. It's very difficult to choose. Of course, our primary interest is in the Indian angle. After all, we are covering...
But you were there for Michael Phelps, weren't you?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Nothing to do with India.
That's true, that's true.
When you won his 8th medal.
Yes.
You were photographing it.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, that was
I think I watched about 4 or 5 of his medals, winning his medals. It was a great experience, and you have to forego something else for that. I mean, there were events clashing, so it's you choose, and you have to give up something.
But to even lug all this equipment and run from place to place must have been an exercise by itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's an extremely physically
draining exercise.
And
it's not like they were all happening at the same place.
No, certainly not.
Most often in different places.
Absolutely. They're all different stadiums. Of course, in Beijing we were lucky that quite a few stadiums were close by.
Okay.
But certainly some of them are quite far away, 45 minutes to half an hour.
Did you have your
drive.
own transport?
No, no, no. The transport system works brilliantly in the Olympics normally.
Okay.
And this time, of course, in Beijing, it was absolutely fantastic. Flawless, on the dot.
Okay.
There's a huge network of buses running from the main press center to all the venues.
Okay. Getting the permissions and all to be at the event, to be closer to these performers, the action. Was it easier
yeah,
to?
you know, what happens is when you are accredited, you are allowed to go into all events, except for certain what they call high demand events like swimming, for example. Swimming is a ticketed event, has been always, because the swimming arena is a very small one compared to, let's say, an athletic stadium.
So there are limits. Like too much of a
you can't have all the photographers sitting out there. So it is a ticketed event, and it's a very popular event worldwide.
So everybody wants to buy the ticket.
That's
too.
right. So, it's ticketed not buying wise, but it's limited to a small number of photographers and journalists.
But did you have to really plan a lot of things before going to the Olympics?
Yes,
at least
certainly.
this time.
Well,
Because
it's always the same
everybody
thing, yeah.
spoke about the way it was being organized, so certainly everybody expected things to be in place.
That's
so
right.
that you had to really work with it to be able to get the best out of it.
And everything was in place. Every small nut and bolt was in place.
So did you actually feel that it would be impossible for us to organize an event like that, looking at the way we are?
I can't imagine we can get anywhere close to that at this stage. Maybe 25 years from now or something like that. But they were so brilliantly organized that...
Okay.
I think
like, for instance?
Like, you know, every detail, you know, from the small detail like on a journalist's desk, you had a chain and a lock to lock your computer there. So if you want to go for lunch, and you could just lock your computer and go away. It was never provided. It's such a small detail. To the magnificent main stadium that they built. A gigantic main stadium, the size of which I've never seen before in any of the games. They had a road running right around.
It's not like our stadium, which is lopsided.
Absolutely.
Which is a shame on the city.
And you know, the brilliant architecture, the scale, the size, the way it was done. I mean, it was fantastic, right from such a huge thing to the smallest detail.
Not just the sports, just the very sight of it must have been so exciting,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. Even now, even to the last day when I was looking at it, it fascinates you as you walk up to it and look at the stadium. So unique in design.
It is a reflection of the level of civilization these people have reached.
Well, I would, in a sense, yes, but one must remember that these designs were not theirs. They were out from. They were from outside.
But whatever,
China.
to be even be that smart to be able to get the best from anywhere you want.
Absolutely, absolutely, certainly.
To make it the best.
Yes.
Correct.
They didn't leave any stone unturned. Physically, I mean, in any sense of the word.
Did you really feel sad looking at that? You know, I mean, we would not be able to do anything like that, like you say, in at least 25 years from now.
Yes, in a sense, it is rather sad, but I think it's a learning process, and you know, we're not as developed as them as of now in this
But
stage.
do you think it's mostly because of the processes that we have, the way we function, our governments, red tape?
Absolutely, democracy has its
bureaucracy.
benefits, but has its you know, downsides. I think our systems will not allow us to do. In fact, most democracies, I think, can't do what China did, for that matter, in my opinion, because one of the advantages that China had, from this point of view it's an advantage, from other points of view it's not, is that they're an authoritarian system. So you don't have very big discussions. At some point something decided and everybody down the line just follows it to the last.
But when you walked about the place, did you actually see that people were unhappy with the authoritarian system?
Well, no, I think they did make an effort there as well. They were very careful.
Cosmetic.
Absolutely, absolutely. They were very courteous. The people were very nice. There was.
Did you get to meet ordinary people?
Well, yes, certainly.
Ordinary Chinese people.
Didn't spend too much time with them, because
but at least you get to watch them.
Yes, but the problem is language. You know, although you wanted to communicate.
Do people appear happy?
I think so.
We always talk about Indians being happy in spite of the poverty and the misery and all that. It's just a cliched statement. Is it because that we have not seen how things are otherwise elsewhere?
Well, I wouldn't think the Chinese people were extremely happy, but they didn't seem sad at all. They were quite normal. They participated.
We are not so happy otherwise too. It's just a statement.
That's right.
So what are the most striking things apart from the organization and the structures? Because you watched the other 5 Olympics before going to the 6th one in Beijing.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the way they successfully manage the whole thing, as well as the participation of the crowds. See, many times in countries which are not very well developed, you don't have a large crowd participation. For example, Seoul was the first Olympics that I went to, and I can't say they organized it badly. It was not on the same scales as Beijing, all right, but it was a very well organized Olympic Games, but hardly any participation from the people. There were very few spectators. So I think culturally they were not tuned towards automatically going and watching a sport.
But there was a lot of hype about the Beijing Olympics too, right? There was a lot of publicity.
Yeah, but all
and
negative,
everybody,
I think,
but everybody came to know about it.
That's right.
That there was something of that scale happening.
Yeah.
And for the first time, it was the largest event happening.
That's right.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's a difference between, you know, somebody going there to watch it for curiosity just to find out what's happening, and somebody else going to watch a sporting event purely to enjoy a game of football or badminton or hockey, whatever it might be, which is prevalent, for example, in developed countries like Australia or you know, USA. Anybody playing a game attracts a crowd at a certain level. You know, even if it's a league level or even if it's two not very good countries playing hockey, it doesn't matter. People come and watch and they participate just to enjoy the game and involve themselves and relax. So that's a different thing. And this time I found large crowds in most sporting events, which I think was a reflection of how the Chinese culture is slowly changing and becoming more, let's say, receptive to such kind of international things.
But there was a lot of foreign spectator participation.
Certainly, lot of.
It was not just the local people.
No, not at all. Lots of them, in fact.
But for the first time, you had a lot of excitement even otherwise. Like, you know, everything progressed to the final event.
That's
it
right.
was like, you know, it was not happening in pockets, and, you know, there was some great achievement in one place and everything else was dead and dull. But this time it was like, you know, there was something or the other happening all the time, everywhere.
Yes.
Or was it only because the press was managed very well?
Well, I wouldn't say manage. It's a very large section. More than 10,000 journalists. You can't really manage them. But I think there were not many negative points about the Olympics really to talk about, except for the fact that all the Westerners, of course, the favorite subjects are human rights violations. And
but
issues
nobody
like that.
spoke about that during the Olympics.
That's right, because it didn't come up, and it was. I think one of the things probably is the way the games were done didn't give you any time to
think about
such negatives. Really, it was so brilliantly done, and so much was happening. You had Michael Phelps on one side, and you had the athletics, and so much going on.
How is it to photograph an action or a particular sports event? Because you will never know which is the right frame, or you cannot just get somebody to stop midway or mid-action. So how is it as a job for you to be a photographer in such an exclusive event like Olympics?
It is difficult because there are so many sports involved. And one of the things is that you must, for a sports photographer, it's just not enough to know enough about photography and go there with equipment and sit there. There is a need to know a little bit about who's playing, who's participating, what their strengths are, and who's a better player and who's a worse player or whatever.
So you make your own, it's like horse racing too.
So you need a little bit of input. I mean, you don't need mastery over it. You don't need very, very detailed input.
To be able to watch somebody and...
Exactly. So your question of anticipation, who might win, and
so
you need to know a little bit.
Done some homework.
Yes, you need to do that. And it's not very difficult because...
So how much did you actually do that kind of homework before going?
Well, I didn't do much before going,
Did you expect anything from Michael Phelps?
Oh yes. Michael Phelps was, it was all over the place.
Okay.
In fact, I had covered him at the Athens Olympics as well. And so
Did you meet him?
No, I didn't have a chance to meet him. No.
Everybody must just wait to touch his hand or shake hands with him or, congratulate him.
That's right. But I didn't get a chance there. I mean, you could possibly meet him if you go to the press conference, but one didn't get the opportunity.
Okay. You were there when Bindra won the gold medal for India?
Oh yes. Undoubtedly one of the greatest moments of Olympics
I have
experienced.
How did you feel?
It was enthralling, absolutely. It was something...
It must have been such an experience.
My eyes were moist, I must admit.
Yeah.
It was a great experience after waiting. I mean, for 20 years I've been at Olympics.
I'm sure you were sweating before you won the medal.
And actually I missed a few pictures, good pictures, because I was tense. Because we were watching the scoreboard and this guy getting closer to the goal, and the Chinese was faltering. He was a leader, and he was faltering. And the other guy, Chinese and one European.
What a moment it must have been.
It was an amazing moment, and I couldn't believe it that even now I can tell you, thinking about it, there's a strange feeling.
Having been there and looking at the reaction of people back here, do you feel that just because they've not experienced it, because they don't know the, what do you say, the magnitude of this event, that they are not able to appreciate it in a better way because they've just seen these cricket matches. They just see it happening in a stadium.
Yeah.
But winning a gold medal in an event of that size, isn't that a different thing altogether?
Absolutely.
Which I'm sure, you know, even
sad,
if you try the best to explain it to anybody, nobody will be able to understand it.
It's a little sad, and it's also, you know, comes across as a little bit artificial. That you know, Abhinav Bindra's victory or gold medal is being celebrated by every Tom, Dick and Harry, but most of those guys don't even know what he does properly. I mean, if you ask them what event he won it today,
they will say
shooting,
cricket,
all right,
or maybe,
but they will not tell you the specifics of or how many points he won by, or
nobody knows actually.
It's very sad. That
and even the media did not make the effort to tell people about exactly what the event was, how did he win. I mean, nothing. I mean, it's like you say, most people just know that he has won a medal for the country. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and thereafter,
it is a technical event. It's not like wrestling or boxing, which one can understand very easily.
Did you have more hopes about Indians winning after Bindra won his medal?
Well, not really. I think we had already finished the other hopeful events, so to say. You know, Rathore was there. He didn't do very well. The trap shoot was there. Sandhu and Mansher, they didn't do very well. So they were good hopes of medals.
Were you there at the opening event?
Oh yes.
The march.
That's right.
And people had complaints about the way our athletes behaved. Did you have any?
No, actually the behavior was not too bad, but the problem was, I think, the dressing.
The attire.
You know, it's very sad.
Yeah.
You find countries which I would frankly find difficult to spot on the map. They come out so beautifully dressed in their cultural attire, in their own way.
It looks so
it could be
otherwise.
It could be straw frocks or something like that from Tonga. And a big country like India, who have been participating in the Olympics for so many decades, can't get even 30, 40, 50 people out dressed properly for the Olympics. I mean, it is very shameful, very shameful.
Did you feel angry?
Certainly very angry, because this is...
Were you just taking pictures, or were you also writing?
No, I was only taking pictures. Although I'd love to have written, but
would you really write about all this? Because, you know, I'm sure that this is a different experience altogether. I mean, it's nice to, you know, I mean, watch it. It's nice to hear about it, but it's a different thing to have seen it, experienced it, and been so close to it and writing about it.
Yeah, I think I might actually do that one of these days. Although I'm not a very prolific writer as such. But it may be interesting. And I might also, I mean, there have been discussions and there have been suggestions from people to bring out a book with my pictures. So maybe a little bit of writing there as well.
But you're happy with the pictures you've taken this time?
Well,
they say they were
not bad.
Quite good.
Not bad, I would think. But I could have done much better. The problem is that, as I said, I'm not a professional and I don't do this very regularly. There are lots of gaps between events that I cover.
But you need to really train yourself a little bit, because, you know, every time you're getting newer equipments and, you know, there's more technology.
That's right.
And updating your knowledge about photography.
One is updating
and the speed and even transmitting the pictures and all that.
Well, you know, transmission thankfully has become child's play today. You know, you're on the computer with the 3 clicks on the mouse and you're on the internet and it's gone. So you don't even realize it's being done.
How do you see yourself from the first Olympics to the Beijing Olympics? I mean, do you feel yourself graduated?
In a sense, yes. You know, the first Olympics was 20 years ago, 1988 in Seoul, Korea. And we were in those days in the black and white world. So I was shooting black and white photographs, black and white, and a few color, but basically black and white, because we could only transmit black and white. And most of our newspaper anyway was in black and white those days. So we had to actually make prints, we had to shoot film, and of course the film used to be processed by Kodak. They were doing it, a great job they used to do. But we had to go and make the prints in the darkroom. They provide the darkroom, they provide all the facilities. But that was you know, one additional step, that you had to make the prints. And then you had to actually put the prints on an analog transmitter, which used to take about anywhere between 7 to 9 minutes to transmit one picture. So, you know, post-shooting was a whole set of activities that you had to do, maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Even now it's a lot of work, isn't it?
No, it's much less, because now you shoot. No,
but at least you get more time for shooting.
That's right. Yes,
now,
of course. Yes, you get more time.
That means you are constantly occupied.
That you are, but then you're occupied shooting rather than doing work in the dark room and transmitting and stuff like that.
Is it better to see through the lens, everything that's happening in front of you, or to just look at it with naked eyes?
Well, if you're watching a sport, definitely with naked eyes is much better.
Yeah, because I mean, you're just limited to the scope of the lens, right?
That's right.
Sometimes do you feel that rather I would have brought somebody else? I could have enjoyed everything.
Well, yes, it is sometimes, because you do miss out on...
With the spectators that you're watching an event happen,
that's right,
rather unravel in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is definitely a different way.
What do you feel about sports journalism these days? In a scenario where you have almost everything happening in front of you on a TV, and what can a sports journalist actually give to a reader apart from analyzing things? Particularly in Olympics, you're giving pictures. What do you think that you can actually show in a picture that a TV camera cannot show?
Well, yes, it is becoming more challenging. Definitely has become more challenging than it used to be many years ago, before the era of TV, certainly. Because you can watch everything, as you said, on TV, live, recorded later, replayed, whatever. But the charm of a still photograph still is very much different. If it's a good picture, and if it's at the right moment, peak of action.
It's like rightly capturing the moment.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which on a TV screen, it just flashes by.
The moments are just passing by.
It just passes by. Here you're capturing, but you can keep looking at the picture.
That's where the challenge is, right? To capture the right moment.
Absolutely.
A good photographer can only capture the most important, the challenging, the happening moment. Like somebody in a flight or somebody winning at that moment.
And even let's say the whole stadium, the atmosphere there can be captured by a still picture in a way that I don't think even with the latest technology television can capture and give it to you in one frame.
There is so much scope for imagination.
That's right.
Because you can get involved. It's not like everything is being told.
That's right.
Because you would like to know what happened before, what happened after, and then the story can actually complement it.
That's right.
So you still love it?
Okay, yeah, certainly. It's really,
okay.
So, but it's definitely become more difficult now, and you have to be think little differently than it used to be.
As a person who has been interested in sports so much, you even won a medal for your golf team, right?
Oh well, I didn't play. I'm not such a good sportsman. As I said, I'm a keen enthusiast. I love sports, but I'm a very mediocre sportsman at a very low level. Well. If you're talking about medal, it's when I was the non-playing captain and the manager of an Asian Games team, golf team in 2002 in Busan. When Shiv Kapoor, our best player those days, won the gold medal. That was a great moment. Yeah.
That was your team, of course.
That's right.
And you are the one who put together this Deccan Herald team to a cricket team, right?
Oh, not really. I think it was there earlier as well, but I did play for a few years on that.
Yeah,
yes,
but you brought in a lot of good players into the team.
And a couple of them, yeah.
Okay, but what do you feel about the sports scene in this country? Apart from, if you have to discount cricket, or rather forget cricket for a while, about the other sports, the kind of encouragement
I wish we could forget cricket for a while, although it's my game, but I think it's trampled all over all the other games. There is cricket and there is other sports in this country, unfortunately. I mean, and both of them are not comparable.
And many people don't even consider cricket as sports, because cricket is a sport by itself.
It's like
all the other sports.
That's right. In fact, somebody was asked whether...
It's like sports and cricket.
Yeah.
Correct.
There was the question whether, as to how sports sponsorship is doing in India. So the answer was that there is no sports sponsorship in India. There's only cricket sponsorship, because nobody sponsors anything other than cricket. It's rather sad, especially at the lower level. If you look at the state level, schools, colleges, and that level, there is no patriotism. I mean, there is no patronage of that or any other sport apart from cricket. Everybody wants to put in all they have into cricket because they see that they get a lot back from it. But I think I wouldn't blame cricket that much actually, because they haven't really done anything bad. They've just gone along and it's become popular. It's very good. I would blame the administrators and the people in charge of all the other sports. They have made the whole thing a complete mess. They have been absolutely selfish and not given anything to the sport. And I think that's the reason why all the other sports have rotted.
There's some contribution from the media too, right? They literally pushed to the last page.
Well, sports has always been the last page, traditionally for many, many years.
If at all you want to see it on the front page, it has to be cricket. Or a Bindra needs to win a gold medal in Olympics.
That's right.
So, do you think that even sports journalism needs to be a little proactive?
Certainly, I think so.
Or needs to understand the trends of the modern day? what do you say, entertainment requirements and make it a little more peppy and not make it so academic. You understand, sometimes,
right.
you know, for an ordinary person to read a report, it's like unless you know a lot of things about sports, you cannot just enjoy.
That's right.
I don't want to know the laps and the strokes or the movement of a man like Phelps in the pool. It's mostly about, you know, what was the reaction, what did his mother say, how did he feel when he won the prize. Correct. What are the money of the prize or whatever it is, right?
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps
I must say that one of my best pictures of the Beijing Olympics was tears, you know, coming down from his mother's eyes as he won his, I think, 8th gold medal or 7th gold medal. Or 8th gold medal. I don't know which one, but one of the very, very emotional moment. And she was there in the stands with his sister by her side, and she was weeping with joy. You know, there were tears of joy coming down. So definitely, that's very important part of the entire the atmosphere there and the event, and certainly it's not all about strokes, the technology involved in the sport. It's all about what he eats, for example.
But do you actually feel that sports is becoming very academic?
Not really, I don't think so. I think...
I mean, in the sense that everybody wants to at least pretend like they know enough about it, the techniques of it, the nuances of it, and not just appreciating sports as a human activity that you can just enjoy even watching.
But I think that's true of everything else, you know. People do get, you know, as you are more educated, more exposure, you know, you have internet, you have television. You know, in our days, for example, we wanted to watch cricket, either it was live or it was Indian news review before the movie started, you know. We used to, in fact, there were times I've gone into theatres before the movie started just to watch the Indian news review, test match, you know, for 5 minutes. That's the only chance you got to watch cricket those days. So you were not really exposed to so much of detail. Today there is so much of writing.
Is it because, you know, you can show so much of it, write so much about it, that you really find more ways to put in more information into it by putting in more formulae?
That's right.
You know, it's like, it sounds like more of mathematics than cricket.
And more statistics as well nowadays.
Yeah.
You know? So I think people
it's
are
about this one's formula, that one's, what do you say, postulate.
Yeah.
And it becomes a real difficult thing for people, because you know already there are very few people who are involved actively in sports. Most people can actually clap by watching an event or just appreciate, or, you know, I mean, what do you say, encourage or cheer. But to get more people to participate, for us to win more medals, to get people coming from all kinds of, all sections of the society, to find a playground to get involved, that is a different task altogether.
Yes, certainly a more difficult task, and I think there isn't much being done by all sections of society, including the government, these associations, everybody else, even schools for that matter, except for a select few, to encourage this and to get more people to participate in various sports, so that we get better results out of this. You know, people just want their children to play cricket because they can make money there. Next probably is tennis. They see a career there. A professional tennis player can make a few $1 million and live a successful, you know, very, very happy life. And now, of course, golf is picking up and a couple of other games as well. But the other games are just rotting because nobody's doing anything about it. It's very sad. I think, and as I said, I think the associations and federations, of the Indian Sports Federation associations, they are really to blame for the pathetic state of affairs in that area.
Okay. Apart from sports and photography, what else are you interested in? You also edited your newspaper for quite some time.
Yeah.
But
that was a great experience.
Do you do anything else these days?
Well, I do a lot of reading, which I think I missed out on my early part of my life. So I'm trying to catch up desperately.
Planning to write too?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I do a lot of reading, especially Kannada. Kannada literature and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think
you've been educating yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely late in life, but I think it's never too late.
Okay, that's a good effort. Yes. Apart from that, movies or
very little of movies and stuff like that. This is what I normally do. Yeah. I mean,
what do you feel about Deccan Herald as a symbol of this state, its culture, something very representative of the essence of Karnataka, particularly Prajavani?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been around 60 years, and I think those 60 years have been the most formative and most eventful times for the state, the recent history. And we certainly, I think, both the brands are very, very closely associated to Karnataka's culture and Karnataka's social fabric.
Okay. And also the development.
Absolutely.
The evolution of a lot of things.
That's right. That's right. Including its, culture, its language.
How do you feel about being associated with it? Not just as having been an editor, or even part of it being the owner, one of the owners. Also somebody who has been with it all along.
Well, I've been around there for about 25 years now.
Okay.
It's been a great feeling. It's a great feeling to be associated with something like that.
Okay.
I must also say, I'm very fortunate to be associated with a brand as strong and so closely connected with Kannada culture and Karnataka. You get recognized everywhere. It's a very nice feeling. Yeah.
So that only means that you've had a lot of best opportunities in your life.
Absolutely, I must say. I've been very fortunate. I've been very, very fortunate.
On that note, I must thank you for having come to the show and shared a lot of your feelings, experiences, and happiness.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much. Thank you.